Hello and welcome to another episode of Never a Straight Answer, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joined in the studio, he's been twacked, he's Taylor, if you don't know, that's taken without consent, he's been beamed up, abducted.
And they brought me back
They brought him back now.
Yeah, they let me loose.
Like, we don't want him, take him. And he's like, no.
No, I escaped. He wanted me.
With Glenn Miller.
With Glenn Miller, yeah. He was playing his trumpet. It was a bit annoying. Just a little bit.
There you go. How's it going? Oh, yeah, we're joined in the studio back with Mikey as well today.
Yeah.
How's it going, Mikey?
Not bad. How are you lot?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it's been a while. How long? How it's been a couple of months. When was the last time you came in? When was it?
December.
Oh, yeah, there you go. See, it's been a few weeks.
Christmas.
Just before Christmas since Mike came in the studio.
Then we poisoned him, so he was off for quite a while, didn't we?
He claims that he had some foul gravy from the chipper.
I had food poisoning.
And it gave him some dodgy tummy. And wrote him off over Christmas.
Yeah, no.
I'd go in and complain if I were you.
Yeah, they probably put me in the meat.
Yeah, you'll be in the special fried rice next week. It's like
The chow mein.
Yeah, probably. Well, no, I can't really comment. Can't really go around saying that. I'm sure they've got food quality standards.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of some description. Don't know, photocopied laminate of something on the wall. Who knows?
Oh,
You never know what you're getting when you go to a takeaway, do you?
That's true.
Yeah.
But I've had a fantastic Friday.
Why?
Fucking,
what
you
happened?
can't get the smile off my face. Even if you whack me bollocks with an elastic band,
we're out of the EU now, aren't we?
Officially,
Do you know what? I didn't even think about it. Do you know, until you've just said it then, it didn't even cross my mind yesterday.
I am a Briton now. I'm not a European.
So what, you're a Briton? You're a British resident.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't know till he mentioned it yesterday when he come on in.
Well, yeah, no, I think he's been telling me it's coming up, so I was kind of expecting it. But you know what?
Mate.
I've seen it on the TV. I'd seen it on the news the other morning, actually, and it was like the build-up, and they were going on about, there's a lot to discuss and stuff. But, this Friday, it was yesterday, so...
Yeah, it went through that. It went through House of Commons, went to the House of Lords. House of Lords went, no, we don't like this, sending it back. Sent it back. House of Commons, the Commons had just sorted out a little bit more, and the Queen went, yeah, let's write it off. Bang. Right. So write it off. So officially, we're Brits now.
And you're as happy as a sandboy.
Yeah. So, the dog has been let off its leash, the British Bulldog, so we're going to go out and...
wreak some havoc.
Conquer the world again, mate.
All that money they're saving, what they're going to use it on?
I'm sure they'll find something productive to use it on, I'm sure. Let's hope.
Give themselves a pay rise.
I hope not.
We all need
obviously,
that.
We need the pay rises, but that's not going to what this money's going to go towards. It's going to go towards sorting out the NHS and a few other essentials, I dread to think if it started getting wasted.
Yeah, but there's a lot of waste anyway.
Yeah, no, but that's not the point. It's like, we're trying to, claw back money that we were wasting there in the first place. Yeah. It's like, well, fair, or that at least if it's being wasted, but it's us who are wasting it. But the fact is, we want it spent on proper stuff
and sorted in the right, manageable way. Thinking of the future, not just next.
Thinking about the kids, man. It's
fucking election.
It's a bit of a cliche. No, it's not even a cliche, is it? It's the fact that they do inherit the world. So it's like it needs.
Yeah, but what about the old bastards who are still here?
What about them?
They're the ones that fucked it up in the first place.
No, it's
not
just
all of us.
No, not necessarily. No, it's at the end of the day, it's a different
big corporation,
a different generation, and they weren't as kind of. You can't. Obviously, you can say not everybody, but there was a lot of people who just didn't know any better. Yeah, do you know? And it's like you weren't aware of kind of how you can change by cutting down on certain things, and it's only because people are starting to get educated.
Yeah.
Because you can save electricity by doing things around the house. They can save water by doing things around the house. They can recycle themselves. There is plenty of things that people do now that just weren't even entertained or even taught.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 80s and even the 90s. You know, so it's
yeah, but did they even make an effort? They were sat down and
to
talked
be honest,
about
all
it
these,
realistically.
you know, they said, well, yeah, I know, but they were saying, like I've said this before, they kind of argued and said, oh, this won't happen in your lifetime. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah,
but it's like,
and look, it might happen fucking, in the
go.
next couple of years, for all we know.
Well, you see, there's always all this stuff going on in the world at the minute, and everything's a bit kind of up in the air, isn't it? Like with like fucking climate change. So, you know, we'll keep an eye on it, see what happens. So, other than that, what have you been up to?
Me, just going to work and smiling.
And
I just like it's just been. It's good. It's like a relief come off my shoulder.
I think you're quite happy about it, but for like, you know, but for
really
like most people, like they wouldn't even have remembered. Like I didn't remember. I just kind of got up and did my thing, went to work,
I keep my eyes out.
Went to work, did my job, come home. You know, nothing changed. I don't feel any different being a Briton than I did a European or whatever. You know, but that's what I'm saying. It's like for a percentage of people who'd be on board with it and kind of like, you know, they've been counting down the days.
Yeah.
But for, you know, 99% of the population, they're probably just thinking, oh, right, thank fuck for that. It's over. Thank you. Bye.
Well, yeah, it's a big... it's the beginning, if you think about it, of the big start of like the communications between us and Europe now, because Europe now are shitting themselves because they've realised actually... Now we've separated, we're the biggest place to come to for import-exports. So we've got to do a good deal with them and they've got a good deal with us.
Well, I said this. At the end of the day, people, if they need things, they will buy them. It's got nothing to do with, like, you know... I think what the biggest problem is being able to bring goods into the country quickly and efficiently, you know, without it sitting in docks and having to go through all these custom checks.
Yeah,
so,
but we're eventually find out.
There's going to be no problem. Say if I'm an independent company operating out of fucking Germany, and I've got a really good client in the UK who buys a really good percentage of my business, then why should that stop me trading with my personal contacts?
Well, this is why
there should be no issues.
To be able to change.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like who has the right to say that I can trade with anybody internationally?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, this is it. They wanted to basically us to sign over ourselves for them to do the business for us and make the decisions for us instead of asking the people what do we want.
Well, there you go.
You know what I mean?
I'm not. I'm like I say. See what happens now.
Now
we're out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
My week went down to London like midweek.
Yeah, you've been travelling again, you?
Oh yeah, but I've got a lot of little kind of jaunts coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a nice little trip this time actually. Just there and back, to be honest. But
Anything
it was one of them.
In between?
No, seriously, I was looking out for ghosts on tube stations. Yeah. I was having a look.
Sienna.
You know, I did heck.
No?
But like I say, I was travelling through those tube stations that we were talking about in the episode 69, I think it was.
Yes, it was.
London Underground Most Haunted.
Yes.
And it was pretty interesting because I was like, right, okay. Well, I'm since investigating it and looking into it.
Yeah,
and
it makes you more...
it made me kind of see things in a different perspective, I suppose.
Yeah.
But not the fact that I've seen anything. It was just like, oh, right, well, this is where these stories took place.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anything around that could, like leave a little pattern or something. You know, like leave some kind of... There was a symbol written on the wall or some shit like that.
I don't know. Well, there's one in particular that I kind of... Well, like they were saying, when people get on a tube and they sit down and there's nobody sat next to them, and then they look up and see a reflection of a passenger who sat next to them in the seat next to them, but there's nobody there.
Yeah.
So, it was quite interesting, and it was like I was kind of looking up at a glance, you know, just trying to see if I could see anything.
Yeah.
But there was nothing there. It was all fine.
So have you seen a ghosty, Mikey?
Have you ever seen a ghost, Mike?
Not personally, but I have had where, you take a photo and you have like an image on an image.
Kind of double exposed images.
My mum took a photo of my niece one day, and from knee down there was an old dressing gown, and a dead old fashioned dressing gown and old slippers.
Now you see with these old cameras, though, these like people didn't wind them on properly and stuff, and you always got these double exposures.
It was on a digital camera,
okay,
and it was about a week after my grandma died, and it was the same dressing gown.
Right.
Well,
okay.
There were no other pictures on the camera. I only just formatted the memory card.
So you think it was kind of something a bit paranormal?
My grandma visiting, because she always said she'd visit our Sheridan. She'd stay to see my nephew born, and it was the day my nephew were born.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go.
What did they say? Cameras see more now than human eye.
Well, they pick up all different things as well, because you can set it for infrared. You can set them for kind of, they are sensitive. They can pick up things. It's just, I think, as a paranormal investigation tool, a camera's probably one of your best.
Yeah, I think now, definitely, especially now, because, like I said, like they can pick up stuff that we wouldn't even tint.
Totally. We're so far off topic for what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah,
going
that's
back
true.
into the hauntings and stuff like that. We're actually talking about episode 71 tonight. Yes. We're talking about the Betty and Barney Hill incident a bit later on. If you've never heard about it, it's the Betty and Barney Hill were an American couple who claimed that they were abducted by aliens in a rural part of the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
It was a widely publicised story of alien abductions and the first grey alien encounter recorded in the United States.
Yeah.
It's got links with Project Blue Book, grey aliens, missing time.
Yes.
And it was turned into a book in 1966 called The Interrupted Journey, and also a TV movie called The UFO Incident in 1975.
Yeah.
Like I say, the first ever recorded incident in the States.
Yeah.
And it's pretty
number
interesting.
14 in the book, in fact, actually.
What in what book?
Project Blue Book.
Right, okay.
And it's actually got an extra title to it. I think it's Secret. Secret something.
Well, I also know it's known as the Zeta.
Reticuli.
Yeah, the Zeta Reticuli incident.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty fascinating stuff. Yeah. I think it's going to be quite an interesting topic.
Yeah.
And I mean, going into the story, you do kind of get a bit about. I mean, there's loads of politics to it as well, which is quite interesting. Especially for the time,
of evidence as well.
And a lot of evidence. But I mean, even under hypnosis, we'll talk about it a bit later on.
Yes,
but I forgot your applause today as well. Sorry,
you did.
I do apologise. Well, we won't forget because we've got a bit of news coming up.
We have,
a
bit.
We've got plenty of news.
Yes.
So without further ado, we'll dive straight in with that. It's the news. Yeah, so it's been a bit of an interesting week this week.
It has.
Oh my days. There's been quite a lot going on in the world, plus a lot of stupid things going on in the world too. Yeah. We're going to cover them all, or try to. First off, have you got anything you want to talk about? Because I know you have. And I mean, I know you've just expressed your love for leaving the EU.
Oh, yeah.
I hope we've not really got much more of that to talk about. Please.
Well, no, really, we're just done with that, and we've actually told Europe now with 3 major politicians, including the Prime Ministers, have turned round and told Europe, look, we could just leave now. We could just leave on WO terms.
I thought we had left, that's the point.
Well, we have officially, but we're still in that trading part for a year, till the end of the year. Now, if they're not going to communicate with us and help along, because they still want us to have free movement, free this, free that, they want the fisheries. So we basically told them they're not having the fisheries, and we basically told them it will end, everything will end on the 31st of December this year. Straight away, movement will stop on the first day. And
so
you
that's
need
basically
to sit back
saying,
and actually
like,
sort yourselves out.
You've still got a year in there. You're still in there technically for another year.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, we'll tell everybody we left.
Yeah, we are our own sovereignty.
Are you in control innit?
What?
Well, we are in control now.
Yeah, I said they'll fob us off and say we're in control when we're not.
Well, now it's all on the government, whatever happens now, and they're responsible. And if they want to stay in the power, they need to do as the people say. And the people have got more power as well, because we've got like a new kind of ruling where if I think you've been dodgy, and like another like 100,000 people think you've been dodgy, we can get you investigated and then fucking kicked off, even the Prime Minister.
You know me well, don't you?
Oh yeah. But like, yeah, we'll be able to get our own powers back in a way as well.
I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter. Do you care that we've left the European Union by this
like
point?
It or not.
No, the thing is, it's like, no, I think everyone's just bored to the point now that it's happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, right, it's happened. All right, sweet. You know,
Yeah.
you finally, it's like someone just kind of like,
Yeah, but that's only because of the other
promising you
politicians
cake
who
and then
promised
turning
they
up 4
will.
years later with cake.
Yeah, but that's only because other politicians were fucking about, and like they were involved with Europe to try and keep us in, even though the people said no, we want to go.
Hell no, we want to go. Oh no, we want to go.
It's democratic
hey,
to
ho,
do that.
We want to go. Can we go
You know what I mean?
in a couple of years? Oh no.
And it's the first time ever that the people have actually won
Yeah,
a
it's true that.
referendum.
True.
It was the first time ever that more people come out
I
to
tell you
vote.
that much. Stubborn that English stubbornness.
Well, no,
it's like,
something
no,
more
he
important
promised
for
us
us,
a
isn't it?
referendum. No, we won't budge on it.
Well, they've got no excuse now to turn around and go, well, we
You
can't
gotta-
do that because
it's-
Europe said we can't do it.
It's cool that everyone started turning around and saying like, oh well, it's about democracy now. It's not. Even
Oh, I
about,
don't know. There's still people
it's
out there who
about
want to
the
ruin
fact that
parties that are going to happen.
You've got to follow through with the decision.
Yeah, you have.
now,
It was
so-
the decision that the people made. It was the once in a lifetime, and we've done it. So
well
yeah,
done.
let's move on.
Well done. So
man.
let's move on.
Before Gaz whacked you one.
I've not said a word. I've
He
got a
hasn't.
story.
I can
I've
see
got a
in his
story
eyes,
that Gareth sent us in.
Yes.
He said to have a look into. So
Yes,
I have.
Gareth, man.
And it's a good one.
Sweet.
It's been a Bigfoot sighting. Bigfoot.
Yes, boy.
So yeah, CNN have reported somewhere in the Washington State Department
Yeah.
for the transportation basically the transportation department of the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a Bigfoot. So the Twitter account for the agency shared a traffic camera photograph that showed what appears to be, something walking
Does it?
upright.
Does it look
walking
like
around
one,
the
though?
trees in the distance, basically saying it's a Sasquatch. And,
It was Taylor.
what?
He's saying it's me.
It was Taylor.
It was me on a drunken night.
Well, I've seen the picture. It does look like kind of someone dressed all in black. It could
Yeah.
be, I'm not saying it's an ape.
Would you
but-
say?
I'd say you can't really say, can you?
But do you know
without-
how you hunch over when you're cold and you kind of just plough through snow? And
That's
you're
a
like,
guy
I'm
in
just
a
trying to
costume,
get
I
away
reckon.
there. I'm just trying to get to where I'm going.
I reckon that's a
Right.
guy in a costume.
All with your hood up and stuff, and it's cold, and you kind of
Bob
like
just trying to get to work.
hands in your pockets.
man.
It looks like that sort of hunched over, sort of cold dude
Yeah.
sort of picture.
Yeah,
But
man.
because it's a black figure, they're saying Sasquatch. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No, yeah.
It could just be a tall person.
And plus, it was taken from a webcam, it's not very good. It's not a very good picture.
Pixels are not that real great. Yeah,
So-
so you could really say that was an elephant.
So WSDOT East tweeted Sasquatch spotted. Basically.
Yeah, I think it's a fake myself. To be honest,
on
I
the
think it's just a
22nd of
blog going to
January,
work or something.
2020.
Yeah, or it's a college kid playing a prank.
Maybe.
Yeah, a lot of people do play pranks these days.
He could have been
and lot
going
of
to a
hoaxes.
fancy dress party or something. But
Yeah. Or could be anything. You never know, do you?
Yeah. This is just the first spot of the picture, though. You know what I mean? So
then on the 23rd of January, they tweeted again saying there's been another spotting. I think Bigfoot is making the rounds across the mountain passes. Basically, East showed him on the Sherman Pass the other day, and now he's in a wildlife overcrossing on the I-90 just east of what's that one? Snoqualmie Pass.
SNOQUALMIE.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never seen.
So there's not just been one sighting. So the mythical creature is widely associated with the mountains of the Pacific Northwest, but it appears that he's been doing a bit of travelling, bit of sightseeing. So there's been sightings of him all over the world, and it's even he's even got his own festival in North Carolina.
Good.
So
good pie.
Bigfoot festival. I won't mind. I'd have a bit of Bigfoot festival.
Yeah, I'll go for a festival.
So, so we hope that is a bit answers a few of your questions, because obviously Gareth sent it in. He said he couldn't send us the actual story.
Yeah,
but I said
nice
I'd
one, Gareth.
Man.
Yeah, man, looked into it, and I think it's.
To be honest, I'm not sure, but obviously the fact that it's two separate sightings. Yeah, I'm not sure now. So,
well, yeah, but then if you were going to fake it, you'd want to see you would want to fake it a few times, and it's just because of the picture quality. To be honest,
like they always return back to the scene of the crime.
Yeah, or they actually one in the Northland, we'll do one in the South, we'll do one in the East, we'll do one in the West, so it looks like there's a few around instead of just one.
Yeah, but if you think if they was to get a clear, brilliant picture, if it is fakers or whatever, then it wouldn't be believed anyway. Straight away, it'd be like, that's fake. So it makes sense why they'd have a grainy picture.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't help.
It's not good quality.
Yeah, that's it. It's the same with the UFOs. You don't really get good quality UFO pictures, but when you do, you know the fake. You know the fake. You know what I mean? They just they come out like wrong, really.
They don't want you to see the watch. That's what it is. The nice Casio watch you're wearing.
Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, well, that's the giveaway, isn't it? That's the thing Casio that's going to catch him out, is the fact they've got a calculator watch. So, yeah. I got another story here.
Yeah.
Right, I've got a couple of really dodgy stories tonight.
All right.
So, this one was good, though. A man breaks his own record, right?
Yeah.
After for sitting in a barrel at the top of a pole, right? So this guy, he back in the 80s, right? Oh, sorry, back in 1997.
Yeah.
He set a record for sitting in a barrel on top of a pole.
Right. Okay.
Just because he said he felt he could, right?
Right, what so was this with nothing at the bottom, like just on the pole?
Yeah.
Balancing.
So it was like literally, the pole was about 90 feet high, right? Oh. And he was literally living in the barrel. He lived up there for, 2 months. This time round, breaking his record that he set in 1997.
Right.
So he went up first time in 1997 because, we wanted to break a record. He thought it'd be an easy one to do.
Yeah.
A few people have attempted it. Since even David Blaine,
the famous David
Blaine,
who
attempted to break the record but couldn't spend as much time up there. So because nobody had kind of, you
would have thought he would have been able.
Nobody had come close.
Yeah.
Basically, he thought he'd come a bit, come over and try it again.
Hey,
so he's gone up. 2 months he's lasted, and basically he just said he could spend up even more time up there. He's quite happy. Different restaurants send him up food every couple of days, every day. Or a different restaurant will send him something.
Yeah, man.
That's even got asked how he goes to the toilet, and he said he's even got like a little, filtration, a pee hole. Yeah, that runs down the pole. So he's like all self-sufficient when it comes to washing. Oh, he said all the waste goes down the tube. It's all good.
Oh, what?
All
so
good.
It must be liquids then. He must be on liquids,
just
no
whatever.
Solids.
No, all these restaurants are sending him food. But he said he's had to suffer high winds. Yeah.
Yeah, I
bet. Lightning storms. And he's just said sometimes it's quite scary, but sometimes it's quite peaceful. So
yeah.
So if you think you can beat his record,
Yeah.
So 80 feet in the air his barrel was.
Should do that. That's something Taylor should do.
And
you put £1 million on that fucking counter, I will.
So when he first broke it, it was 54 days.
54 days.
But he took it to 67.
Nice.
I think I'd go insane up there though.
But he says he's going to try and push it for 80, and that's what I think he's done. 80 days.
Yeah, I think you might be right. They might be a bit lonely, but then look at that. That's only
it must do you back in though as well. Right? Do you know what I mean? Is it literally in a barrel?
How
right?
the hell does he sleep?
I know, and then that's exactly what I was just thinking there. How does he sleep?
Yeah, and for 2 months, over 2 months.
People can sleep like in weird places, can't they?
Yeah, but I'm in a barrel, 90 feet up in the air or whatever.
I'd be worried about falling asleep and falling over the edge.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
it's like one morning if you just got up and forget where you are, and then next minute you've gone over.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, is that suicide?
Well, no. Well, it's a tragic accident, isn't it?
Question is, did he have anything to strap him to the barrel?
No, he's just up there, just paying attention to what he's doing. I'm assuming.
Blowing in the wind.
So yeah, but I thought it was an interesting story. But well done, that man.
Yeah, man.
I forgot his name now. Wait, hang on. Let me just tell you his name.
Go on then.
It's worth knowing his name at least. You know what I mean? Man in a barrel.
Right, go and send him an email.
Amongst barrel enthusiasts.
He's called Vernon. Is it Cougar or Kruger?
Kruger.
Vernon Kruger.
All joking aside,
have a Google, check it. He's done well. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't. That's an endurance, isn't it? That is an endurance test. At the end of the day, isolation. You know, you're up there, 90 feet up. You're not, or however many feet up. You're not exactly having conversations with people as much. You know, unless he's got his phone. I suppose he can Skype people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Annoying people.
Still, it's not the same though, is it? So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, well done.
Yeah, man, well done.
Well done.
I want to know what his next one's going to be.
Well, I don't know. I think he wasn't too bothered. I mean, he said a few people had approached him to do it again, like over the years, but he's never took it seriously. But then, like, sort of,
well, big offer coming.
Yeah, probably, and it was probably to, you know, the money was going somewhere that he agreed with.
Hey, fair enough.
You know, so he was like, yeah, fair play. I'll have a bit of that. Yeah. So
well, I'd expect to be paid if I'm going to be sat up there for like 2 months. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it for the freedom of me. Like,
well, it's like just for the fact that you know, because the world record's already yours, isn't it? It's like what you're just basically benchmarking it now and just saying, well, look, you've tried to beat the previous record and failed. Yeah, try and beat this one. Because now you're just assuring your name
you've got it,
as a world record holder.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And it's like that. No, it's because like how long? No one might break that record ever. Now,
no, true.
Do you know what I mean? Or even attempt it.
I don't know, but it's been told now, and now it's been told and it's been publicised. More people will probably, you know what? I could probably do that.
Maybe
if someone shows me a serious offer,
there's a guy on YouTube who just literally does nothing but breaks world records.
Well, it's a YouTube thing. You know what I mean?
So you never know. Guy up a barrel. Watch this space. If you're a guy up a barrel, or even a woman up a barrel, you're trying to attempt the world record. Let us know. Tweet us.
Yeah, tweet us in. Yeah,
NASA_never, and we'll have a look. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll kind of come down and cheer you on. Yeah. Well done.
Ain't too far.
Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about?
Russian Parliament's closed down. Everyone's resigned.
Everyone.
Even
Putin.
Yeah, everyone's resigned.
Even Putin's gone home now.
Well, he's resigned as well. Basically,
has he?
Everyone is resigned, and they're starting it all over again.
What? Fair play.
Putin's got 4 more years left, and basically he wants to change the rules so the people or the parliament have more power than the actual prime minister or the president. So what he's had to do is everyone resign, and then everyone gets back their position, but with different.
He's very dodgy with this sort of stuff. This is, I mean, because didn't he take on? I thought there was a rule about only being a president for like one term or whatever. Like you can't go be president, go away, come back, and then be the president again. I could be wrong.
Was the prime minister.
That's what I mean. It was like they swapped round. and then he came back into power,
knew
and
it was
he's,
dodgy
and
when
he's
that
been
was
in
happening
power
then.
since.
Yeah.
That's like a dictatorship, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's like now he's basically told everyone to go home, so he can restructure the parliament in a way that suits him.
It suits him for when he's not prime minister or president anymore. Then when he's left, he's still got a little.
No, well, who said that he's not going to be the president or whatever for however many more years? Because
he's only got 4 more years.
People like him. I think people will vote for him.
Oh, you know what? He is so strong in Russia. People do like him.
Well, there you go. I don't think it's a case of that. People won't be happy to have him in there.
No, but he might
it's
not
how
run
you
again.
manipulate the system to make you, to keep you there.
Yeah, but
that's the difference.
If he's got everything in key position, he can leave and do what he wants then. You know what I mean? And that's ultimately what the ultimate power would be, to like get in, put everything in position, then go off and retire. You're sweet for the rest of your life.
Well, he would be anyway, no matter what, if you quit or resign.
Well,
it's like they just seem to walk away, don't they? So.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Like, right, it's not my job anymore. It's next guy's problem.
Yeah. This is an issue that we need to sort out in our parliament as well.
They land on the feet as well, don't they?
Oh yeah, all of them do.
The Barack Obama, his house apparently is supposed to be bigger than the White House.
Can believe it. Yeah, but he's into dodgy stuff as well. Apparently.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're all dodgy though, aren't they?
Yeah. Most of them.
Well, majority of them are, because like we were talking before, power creates more greed than power.
Ultimate power
corrupts
absolutely, or is it absolute
it corrupts
power?
People
Corrupts absolutely.
Yeah. If I give you a big number that you wouldn't even think of, you would take it and do what I want. If I offered you £1 billion now to go down the road,
such a pessimist,
with your cock and balls out,
it's like,
you would do
know
it.
What? It's the negative. He sees all the negative. No,
well,
we
no,
wouldn't.
I see.
No, we wouldn't.
You've got to look at both sides, though. No,
I'd turn around.
You
and
don't
say
look
to
at both
double
sides,
that
or
money.
you only look at one side. You look at the negative side.
No,
you don't look at the positive
because
side.
you
Never once heard you say, "Oh yeah."
But you've still got to look at the
positive
negative
side.
You've still got to look at the negative side to sway you which way is the right way of doing it or not.
Well, do it
because
then.
you're looking at both sides, not just one.
Have a crack at it one day.
I like the positive side as well.
Nelly.
He is in it.
Kiss
Anyway.
my ass.
Kiss my ass. Yeah. So no, I don't
yeah.
disagree with what he's saying. It's just, but it's like it's not always conspiracy.
No, I know.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know. But it's the same thing. A lot of people just look at it straight and what it is there and then.
Yeah,
but you're not looking at what brought it there or what was behind it or why they've done that. You know, like the thing that I say with newspapers. Just because there's a big story there, that big story is there to hide a smaller story as well.
Yeah, sometimes I do agree with that. I think sometimes they put those small stories in and to smoke screen a bigger story that they don't want you to see. But I think, but sometimes there's just no big stories.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
that's
like
right.
so
right.
they just fill up with small stories.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not every time there's a slow news day that it's actually like there's a alien warship.
No,
or
but it's
something.
all about opportunities. It's all about certain actions happen, and you've got the opportunity to do something, and obviously reward yourself with something.
Did you see this in Spain?
Oh no!
Right. So the other day, there was a big sea storm around Spain. Yeah.
Oh shit!
And the streets basically got flooded with it was like a foam party.
Foam
party
dirty foam,
going, dirty sea foam.
Oh no!
Which is pretty grim.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you've ever seen it, when
it's nasty
when you go
brown
to
stuff.
Blackpool and you see it all frothing up at the
the sides.
Yeah.
It's nasty
it's
shit,
grim.
man.
Well, this stuff flooded the streets in a little town in Spain.
It's a mess.
Yeah. So the foam caused basically loads of organic matter and seawater to stick to the walls of buildings and basically
sewers and all
just
that
kind
as
of
well.
engulf this coastal town.
Wouldn't be nice, would it, walking to work?
No, obviously
Or getting
not.
in your car and going to work, it'd be rank.
You can't be fucked, man. It'd be full of rubbish and shit all over it. Foam inside.
Well, it was just kind of like going off for a bit. But obviously, it was a big sea storm. So, but this is the thing about when we build stuff on coastal areas, or even on near big rivers.
Yeah.
So it's like we've got an issue in the UK where kind of every time there's a few bits of every time it rains a bit down south, a lot of these kind of small villages get flooded out.
Yeah.
And there's a whole big thing about insurance and stuff, which is, well, the thing is, it's like move, just take your insurance money and sell, and just try and sell the house or sell the land.
It's not as easy as that, because it's the case of like the corrosion. I was actually listening to some people who live down there at the moment, and they were promised that it was 45 years before it would hit their land. Right, and it's actually been less time, a lot less time.
Yeah, but that's
now they have to pay for the demolition of their own house.
So who've they asked? Right, so they've been given wrong information, right?
Yeah.
So
years ago. Oh, we have no responsibility no more.
Well, how? What?
Your responsibility. We only said that it would be up to this. But, it's the act of nature.
Well, yeah,
that's what their excuse would be. The same with insurance.
It's like, but this is the thing. It's always overestimating, or underestimating,
because you want to sell that insurance.
Well, not only it's like they'll argue that it's like, well, we did say up to 45 years.
Yeah,
we didn't say it could be 2 years. But if you get 45 out of it, you're very lucky.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like now they're turning around and saying, well, we feel missold on this insurance policy.
Not just that though, because the council had some money from the local government that so they could pay for the demolition of the houses. But now, because the money's running out, they've got to pay for their own demolition of their own house, and then go and find a house to go and buy and move into.
So do you reckon
they've basically been fucked?
Well, do you reckon like these, if this happened on a regular basis in this Spanish town, that they'd be saying, "Oh, we want insurance, we want our."
Yeah, but your insurance premiums will go sky high.
But they just fucking like you say, it's a natural nature. It's a natural form of nature thing. It's like you can't really do anything about it. Yeah. If you've got an issue with it and you don't like having to jet wash your fucking front of the house every 5 minutes because you've got sea scum attached to it, then just get moving.
Well, we live in a place, don't we, Mikey, where you can't get insurance in some of the houses down the road near the Tesco's.
Yeah, like
up near Tesco's.
Up near Tesco's,
Other supermarkets are available.
River that runs through it, and every so often when we get bad weather, it floods. So them houses are uninsurable because they're always flooding to the point where they cause a lot of damage.
Right.
Now imagine you paid for that, and now you have to pay for that to get demolitioned, and then go and find a house to go and live in and buy.
Well, I'm not being funny, but it's like you bought the house because you thought that you were going to have stunning
because you were promised
views,
an idea,
and whatever,
roughly.
Yeah, well, it's like surely if you're going to move into an area like that, you check. You check these surveys and stuff like that. You check what the land's like. Around there. Was there a house built on marshland? Was it built on an ancient Indian burial ground? I want to know these things before I move in and I spend money on. It's the most biggest purchase of your life, buying a house. Yeah, they say, right? So wouldn't you want to put a bit more time and effort and not just pick a house over on cosmetic value alone? Yeah, by looking at a house, go, no, it's my dream house. That's the house I've always wanted with the river next to it and all the rest of it. Not thinking that in stormy bad weather that river's going to burst its banks and flood damage your house.
Yeah, but you know what,
it's idyllic. Oh, so nice. Imagine we can play croquet next to the river.
What house agents are like, they sell you a dream, and once you get in there, it's nice for the first couple of years, and then the areas change.
But that's what I'm saying. You should do your homework.
You should do your homework, but you sometimes you can't estimate. Let's say you've been there 45 years, and
you've never had a problem.
Yeah. Then all of a sudden, like you're living in your old age, it's nice and
that's fine.
And then all of a sudden,
but that's one time.
Everyone moves in.
That's a one-time fucking thing where it happens, and like you get. What do you mean? Everyone moves in?
Well, like the area changes. It's busy. You can't get any sleep. You can't. Different things happen in different areas and quite quickly these days.
They did rebuild the river, didn't they, and change where it run. It never used to run all the way past them houses.
Yeah, but it only take time for that to only solve it for so long. You know what I mean?
So when them houses was first built, the river was further away, so it wouldn't have flooded the houses. They rebuilt the river. They actually sealed one bit off and moved it over, so it's now closer to the houses.
So there's a chance that there's a more chance of having a flood now.
So it's man-made.
Yeah, well, it's generally man-made that, it's like you were saying, you got to think about the place where you're going to be actually staying at. But you've got to think of the other variables of that area will change.
They were doing it in Salford as well because of the Irwell. That used to burst its banks quite a lot. And they basically did some big kind of defences on the banks to kind of stop it from bursting. So, or at least give it a bit more strength. Yeah. So,
needs a bit more room so it can go down there.
Well, I was having a chat with a guy and he was saying like it's strategic corners they work on, to make it, a bit more kind of stable.
Yeah.
And not tend to kind of burst so easy.
Well, it's not that long ago. The banks went, didn't they, near us? It was all over the news. Took that village out. Nearly took the village out, so they needed a lot of engineering.
You mean the big reser?
Yeah.
Because of the floods and shit.
Yeah, too much water was coming through.
Well,
happens.
I've got this story here, and it's how shocked would you be on this one? Actually, yeah, a man was shocked to find his own grave in a cemetery, despite being very much alive.
What? His name, date of birth, and everything?
It was his grave.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, Alan Hatler said he was worried by the fact that nobody had phoned him for 3 or 4 months and couldn't figure out why. Now he believes people thought he was dead and he wanted to know why. He wanted people to know the truth. So he's blaming his ex-wife for putting a gravestone there. And although he admits he basically just can't be certain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said that he thinks it's his ex.
Well, you pay for the gravestone. That's
what he's saying. He thinks his wife's put it there. So, Alan, 75, a retired welder.
Still alive?
Where is he from? 4-4 in Tayside.
Tameside, yeah.
Is it Tayside?
Yeah, Teesside.
Teesside. Said my phone hadn't rang for 3 or 4 months. I was confused by it, and I didn't know why nobody was calling me. I didn't even know I'd been buried. He said I wouldn't even want to be buried. I wanted to be cremated. So
not only that, it's an empty. Is it an empty casket?
I have a question.
What?
How the hell did he know his grave was in the graveyard?
I don't know. Someone must have told him.
Walking round. He's pretty old geezer, you know what I mean? So he might have been
75. He declared, "I am still alive," as he stood beside the headstone and said said in reports of his death were greatly exaggerated. So Mr. Hatley, or Hatley, said he'd realised something wasn't right when his social life declined. What sort of social life has he got as a 75-year-old man?
He got bingo, mate.
Stopped going bingo. All of his ladies didn't stop ringing. What, the orgies?
Yeah, maybe. Bowls.
Well, what if he said his phone hadn't rang for 3 or 4 months? What effort was he going to do, mate, to ring his friends? Do you know what I mean?
Like
for 4 months, he didn't phone anybody. And he just put it all down to him. His mates was like, well, they've not rang me, so I'm not ringing them. I'll let them think I'm dead. And then he gets to 4 months.
Yeah,
he's I thought that. He says that it was done without his knowledge, and the whole thing is like something out of Only Fools and Horses. He said that he also spoke to Angus council officers and planned to put a cover over the headstone which bears his name. So he said the 75-year-old who spent 37 years as a welder before retiring, claims that his ex-wife bought the plot of land and put the headstone on without basically telling him, and there's nothing actually buried there.
You know what?
But they did intend to be buried together there.
I'd be using that to my advantage and going, you know what? I won't bury him. My plot's there, my gravestone's there. When I die, bury me.
Also, both of their names appear on the gravestone.
So that's
so. What I think's
She's still
happened
alive,
is,
then?
well, no, I'm not sure. Well, I'm not sure, to be honest. But he says it's his ex-wife. But what I'm thinking is, she's thought, rather than, to save a bit of money, I'll get the gravestone done now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if she's died, she might have ordered the gravestone for both of them, but then the gravestone carver has just gone, smash it out, get it on. And then she might have died by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it sounds like she might have done it.
And then, and that's it. He's visited the grave.
Yeah, and seen that his name's on there as well.
Yeah, and he's won,
Yeah,
and that's
clever
why
bitch.
people haven't fucking rang me for 4 months.
Yeah.
It might be the fact that people haven't rang him for 4 months because he haven't fucking rang them.
Yeah. It's like she played a clever one there, I think.
Well, he said to you find out you've got a grave stone in a cemetery whilst you're still alive isn't something that happens every day. And a family member at Mr. Hattersley's home said, this is a family matter being dealt with privately.
Hang on. If he's got a family,
yeah,
then.
But they didn't ring him in 4
They
months
didn't ring
either.
him. What the hell's going on? How did they? So why didn't they ring him?
Did they go to the funeral?
Maybe he's a dick. Maybe that's what it is.
maybe
Maybe
he's
he's just a dick, right? And nobody rang him because he's a dick.
I never thought like that.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's probably like, he's probably sat there feeling self-pity, yeah, at home, yeah. And then he's thought, I'll go out to visit my ex-wife's grave because I've heard she's passed away recently. Yeah. And then he gets up to the gravestone and goes, for fuck's sake, this is why people haven't rang me. No, it's not. It's because you're a dick, right? That's it. Bottom line.
There's a question. Like a statement.
And do you know what?
Could he be a ghost?
Pull your fucking finger out and you ring your mates up for 4 months sat and not ringing anyone.
Could he be first evidence of a ghost that doesn't know he's dead?
Well, no, because he's...
No, because he was talking, he touches things and
that's what
stuff.
I'm saying, no.
He's talking to the press.
Could be a spirit that's...
What, talking to the press? That would be a fucking press release,
do you know what? If the press got hold of a ghost, right, I think they'd have better things to talk to them about.
Fuck off the government to grab it first.
Then a man finds his own gravestone in a cemetery, and it's like, do you know what? If it's the story emerges next week that actually, do you know that man we were talking about who was next to his gravestone? He was actually a ghost. We've got a real exclusive interview with him about the afterlife coming up. It's like I'd be like, fair, but why did you not clock onto that in the first instance? Do you know what I mean?
Mad, man. Mad.
Mental,
son, mental.
How do you not have contact with your family for 4 months?
I don't know. Some people like that.
Not be
75.
I don't hear from my mum for...
Guy's 75. He probably fell asleep.
He
probably had a really big early dinner, like the early bird special.
He's probably alone, man. He's probably liked it. You know what I mean? Different people, different.
Family probably rehypnoled him. He was sick of his old stories and his old bullshit.
Ah, well.
Well.
Got a bit of NASA news before we move on.
Oh.
So NASA are hiring somebody to try and figure out how to get Mars rocks back to Earth.
Oh, yeah, they've been trying to figure that out for quite a while.
If you want to go and work for NASA, they're hiring. The position pays at least $182,000 a year. So NASA are looking to fill an integral role in the space agency needed for somebody to basically come up with a way on a direct mission to get the first rocks from Mars to Earth.
Send a man.
So if you send a man in a van...
Send a man with a package.
So if you think that you can do the job, then get over to NASA's site because they're hiring.
I'll do that.
So formally, the job is a Director of Space Mars Sample Returns, or MSR program, which aims to bring scientific samples of rocks and soil from the red planet to study close up. The first steps of that will basically affect the launch soon to be named the Mars 2020 rover, which is scheduled for July 17th. Once on the Red Planet, the robot will be tasked to collect loads of different samples, store them, and then basically get them in sealed capsules, and then get them back to Earth.
That ain't a brain box thing to think about. That could have been done generations
smash it,
ago.
mate. Get on it. 108.
We should have done it a long time ago.
Because this is the thing. It's like at the moment, the rovers that were up there, they could take samples, but it was getting them home. Yeah. You can't get them home.
Why don't?
That's the problem. We can analyze them as best we can when they're up there. Yeah, by having rovers to do kind of basic chemical analysis and scans. But other than that, we'd like first-hand knowledge. We want to be able to get it physically.
Yeah, but then you've got to think of the safety features to it as well.
See what I mean?
Your
safety features. What safety features?
You know what I mean?
Safety features of what? Not bringing venom back.
Why don't they just?
Come on, what are you saying?
No, but you bringing it back so you can find out better stuff on the material. It would be better testing it there instead of bringing it back, because you've got the length of time of it coming back, which some material
I know,
could
but
be
this
died off.
is the thing. It's like you can't. Is it easier to bring something back, or
I think it'd be easier
there to analyze it?
There.
Well, is it because we've got to set
going
up
there
laboratories
anyway
and stuff? Eventually,
give us something to do when we're there.
Eventually, but we should be able to bring rock samples and soil samples back now.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it's like this is just going to kind of confirm what we already know.
Yeah.
That it's probably going to be made up of essentially of the same stuff we're made up of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which kind of backs up our theories on how the universe was created.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it all kind of we're all the same. We're all made from the same stuff, essentially. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, I think it is worth getting these samples, and if there is differences, then I think obviously, have you seen the vaults that we've got on moon sample rocks? Like we've literally got a vault which is filled with moon rocks and the most important sort of moon samples we've got. Yeah. There was no harm there. I mean, we've got tons of moon samples,
but they went through a process of going through some of them through the atmosphere.
Oh yeah, some come from like as a meteorites or meteor sort of fragments. But to be fair, they're different samples, aren't they? Because they brought stuff direct back.
Yeah, but to be fair, you would do the same thing
when
with
Neil
a
Armstrong went up, he was kind of like, "Oh, here we go. Let me just grab some stuff." And I think he was asked to bring some samples back.
Yeah,
but there was one sample in particular where he just kind of grabbed a big handful of the dust or the dirt, right, and threw it in the container.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be the biggest. And he was never told to take that, but because there was so many different granules and there was basically thousands of samples, right, and they found loads of different bits and pieces that they didn't expect to find. Whereas if they would have just took one of the sort of standard moon rocks, they might not have found those bits.
Stuff.
And find half of it. Most of it.
They didn't get the important stuff.
Exactly.
And put all of it together.
Just by taking that one handful of, dust and dirt.
That's why we need to be there to do it.
So much more out of it. But
it would work out better for us to do it there than back here.
I'm not sure it would, but at this point in time, because we've got clean room environments, we've got a lot of better.
Fuck off! The planet ain't even clean.
No, we've got more sophisticated equipment. We've got clean room laboratories.
Yeah.
On Earth. Yeah, we can take that handful of dust and sand and separate it properly on Earth because we've got a more of a controlled environment. Whereas if you go up to Mars, then you've got to take mobile equipment. You've got to take up laboratories that you can set up on the fly.
We're going to have to do that eventually.
Yeah, I know, but
so start the process now.
That's the thing. It's like you'd rather do those tests on Earth so you can ascertain if it is safe to go up and do stuff. On that land and on that soil and with that rock.
Yeah.
Is it radiation? Is it emitting radiations? Is it doing this? Is it doing that or the other? You don't know.
Yeah, but you also got to think that once the horse is bolted, it's too late.
Oh no, I
You've
think
also got to think
no,
in
you've
that.
got to test. You've got to do your tests before.
Yeah, you've got to make sure it's
you do
done
it.
right.
So the thing is, it's
But they
like,
thought it when they brought samples back the last time that they got it all right, but they didn't, and they found out that they didn't now.
what didn't what and what was wrong
like
with it?
soil on the uniforms and stuff like
What,
that
of
on
the
the
moon?
boots. Yeah, and it was supposed to be stuff that's supposed to come back clean with no. So they already know they failed on that part.
Well, I don't know. I think just basically logic tells me that you'd want to know everything about your environment and be able to kind of test things in your own. In
the environment, it should be standing.
Well, no, I know where you're coming from.
You know what I mean? 'Cause you got to think as well of like the.
It's more cost effective to get a handful of it and bring it down
Yeah.
here and test it than it is to do it up there
Well,
at
if we're
this point
supposed
in
to-
time. Now,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Eventually, we'd have.
Well, it
I expect
pushes
to have
more.
these labs up there, but at the moment we don't, and it's more efficient to just get something that can literally fire a rocket of samples back to Earth.
Yeah, but the funding.
And we can do it when it gets here.
If you start taking the funding away now from.
No, they haven't taken the funding away, have they?
No,
Their
for
point
here.
is they want to go up there.
Yeah, if you start taking the funding away now from the labs down here to start making the labs for up there, we'll do it a lot quicker.
No, we're not even up there yet.
Well, I know, but we're supposed to be there in 9 years. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but like
it gives that little bit of push, and it also brings in the money to actually do it and do the.
No, what you're
experiments
suggesting
there.
is you're not allowed to do any more experiments until you've got A, built a rocket, B, gone through astronaut training, C, got to Mars, right?
Oh yeah, it is a lot of training.
Built
yeah.
a fucking built a compound, built a fucking thing, terraform the planet.
Yeah.
Then go outside, get a handful of tissue, fucking soil before you can analyze.
I won't
it.
go that
It's
far,
just
but
like,
nearly.
I know what you're saying, that eventually these things will be done.
Would have to be
But
done there. Yeah.
why, if we've got the opportunity to do it now, then why wouldn't you do it?
Well, we've still already got samples. You know what? We're still going through the samples that we've got now.
Sometimes
We're still going. We
from the moon, yeah, but
Yeah.
they haven't never tested Mars samples firsthand, and that's the point, isn't it? So if they can bring it to Earth, then surely everybody would be happy to test it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying no, it should be done in
No,
its
it should
natural
be-
environment. It's
Well,
not
no,
like
'cause
it's a fucking ferret or anything, or a panda.
Well, no,
or
but you need to test the objects within their environments before you take it out the environment.
and
to
that's
have
what
it
they've
tested.
done. They've tested it as far as they can using rover technology, scanners, just basic scientific methods, but
But that's the
by
thing, though. It's
getting
the
it
basic.
firsthand, like I said earlier about Neil Armstrong and grabbing that one handful.
Yeah, yeah.
It's holding so much more than just one rock could. So, I just don't see the point in that. It just seems like a bit of a random one where, you get into. It doesn't really matter because, like, at the end of the day, it's like they fucking go to Mars eventually. But there's a job there if you want it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want it, obviously. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because you'll go, well, surely this money could be well spent actually going to Mars and setting up this laboratory up there and studying it live in the field.
We're going to have to do it at one point or another, and it gives that little extra push and more.
So you don't want the
importance
job?
to go up there and deal with the mission.
Well, by getting them back to Earth, they'll manage to do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And basically they've been itching to study Martian soil in their own labs for many years. Yeah. So they'll only been able to examine fragments that have basically hit Earth, like you were saying, going like the moon rocks.
Yeah.
And they've done little kind of investigations have been done by the rover Curiosity that had collected samples of Mars's surface and examined them on its own inbuilt tool sort of dock, and then beamed down the data to Earth. So it's kind of one of them, isn't it? It's like NASA have kind of wanted to get their hands on this stuff.
Yeah.
But like I say, there's a job there. They've got a total budget for the mission, 22.6 million. That's only about 5% of their budget.
Yeah.
But they basically turned around and said, they're looking for somebody who can kind of like a payload specialist who'll be able to kind of secure samples and have them sent back. The new Mars 2020 Mars rover is currently being tested and prepared for launch, and it's slated to reach its red planet by February 2021. So we'll be keeping an eye on that one because it's pretty interesting. I think obviously as I had to salute the older ones because they did the job.
Yeah,
they did the job and then some, didn't they? So, you know, fucking buzzing for them, to be honest. Got another NASA story. Have you got any NASA stories?
I haven't actually.
I've got this one. NASA Kepler spots a star that's basically slurping up planets.
Oh,
yeah. And this planet, this star, is just basically engulfing loads of planets about. Kepler's spotted it. The Kepler Space Telescope is extremely good at spotting the weird shit that's going on in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
And it's detected a slight drop in brightness around this star, basically suggesting that, you know, it's like
something.
Something's kind of like being drawn into it. Kepler has, you know, been checking it out, and it's supposedly been kind of like you say, slurping up planets.
Hungry,
a bit hungry. This thing, but is it considered a black hole, or is it considered a white hole? What is it? I don't know if it's just a star. Right. What's got the power to draw it in?
Well,
is it the gravity?
It's the gravity that's bringing it in. So
how
gets
come
destroyed
our star doesn't bring us in like
because
that?
it's not growing.
Oh,
so it must be growing.
So this one must be like
if it's growing,
mass.
it means it's dying.
So it's kind of growing in mass.
It could turn into a black hole.
Oh, it could do then, couldn't it? Yeah, once it's gone supernova and stuff. So it's a bit sad though, isn't it? When you think about it, when you've got all these kind of
that's way of life.
That is, isn't it?
Something that gets born to go. Well, got to accept it both ways.
You're horrible, you.
I'm just honest, mate.
All right, fair enough. Well, to be honest, this star, like you say, it's scientists believe that the system consists of two primary objects. The larger of the two is a white dwarf star, whilst the second is a brown dwarf. Only, a fraction the size of its larger companion. The pair have basically quite a close relationship.
Sucking each other.
With the brown dwarf.
Each other.
Sucking each other into each other, okay. With the brown dwarf comparing an orbit to its companion every 83 minutes.
Whoa.
So it's orbiting, so they've spit the dancing, basically, the dancing on it.
So they're
it's
going to collide,
incredibly
basically.
short distance. Basically, the two have only around 250,000 miles. That allows the white dwarf to slowly slurp the material from the smaller brown dwarf.
See.
So as it goes past this really tight orbit, it just sucks a bit more into it.
So it's a sucker.
It's
a sucker. So it's
we all know who wears the trousers in that relationship. That's all I'm saying. But it's quite amazing though, actually. And Kepler's got some images of it. So I'm quite interested.
Yeah, that's
an artist. Yeah, that's
an artist. I know it's not a proper image, but that's a nice image.
I'd like to see the Kepler images of that.
Yeah, it won't look anything like that.
Yeah, probably not.
You'll see probably a little white and a another little white thing getting sucked in as it's passing.
Well, there you go. That's my NASA news for the week. Have you got any more?
Not for NASA. I've got police next month are now going to be using face recognition.
Oh, really?
A guy in Wales decided to try to stop it.
I'm a random man in Wales and I'm going to stop facial recognition.
And he lost.
I swear. How?
And he lost it because apparently this machine, you put 25 images of people you're looking for, and the rest of the people it doesn't scan the face. It blurs everyone's face apart from the one who they're looking for.
Yeah, this is like the sort of thing that like.
But how long till they take that away?
For years, this is even like shopping centres have got this sort of technology nowadays.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be having this.
I've got facial recognition software on my computer. It's like, I put photos in. Say if I've taken thousands of photos and like I want to find every photo of you. Yeah, I can easily do that. And it'll scan all my photo libraries and find every single photo of you.
Yeah, but that's your library.
No, it's using facial recognition software because it's looking for key points in someone's face.
Yeah.
That it
but
flags
doesn't
you
work
up.
all the time.
It works all the time. It flags you up as you. I could do it totally, and it's not like it's not hard to do.
Because
you know what I mean?
on the testing phase, they had a real bad issue of picking up black people.
Really?
They really had a bad issue with it, yeah, seriously. But they reckon that they've sorted the majority of it out, but there's still errors in it.
Well, I wouldn't want anybody being tracked for a start.
Well, this is another tracking tool.
Of course, it's a fucking tracking tool. It's a tracking tool that's used to monitor people that don't need monitoring because they're good people who just go around working every day and doing the normal shit. Yeah. I don't need fucking facial recognition software tracking me for any reason.
No.
Yeah. Like yourself, you shouldn't have to either, but you might do after fucking people listen to this week's podcast.
Well,
with your anti everything agenda.
Well, there's certain rules that they put in, but how long till them rules change?
But what you're saying is there's a problem with certain people getting recognised. Well, there's not a problem for them because they're not being recognised by this fucking god-awful software.
Well, they reckon out of 1,000, 2 people will get wrongly recognised and pulled.
Right.
Basically. So now so it's not doing its job. Right, it's 70%, I think it was a 70% it works. So take it away till you get it done properly. And...
What are you talking about? We shouldn't be having it at all.
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck? We shouldn't be having it at all. Yeah. Not take it away. It needs beta testing. Please, can you get us a new one? Come back when you've got it right first time.
Yeah,
that's fucking stupid. We shouldn't have it at all. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but only in certain areas.
Not in any areas.
Well, they're going to put it in either way if we argue to keep it or not to keep it. They're going to put it in. Either way, we argue for it.
It's like it's like you're almost saying like, oh, it's not recognising fucking, I don't know, women. So take it away and make sure it does. Do you know what I mean? Then they're the lucky ones. They're the lucky ones because they're not getting fucking facial recognition tracked. Then in that case, do you know what I mean?
They are gonna get it.
Fuck's sake. Anyway,
I know, it's fucking. It's another violation.
Yeah, I know, but you're almost saying that you're kind of like you're happy to have it as long as it's working.
No.
That's what you've just said.
Well, I know, but when I was saying it, I meant for certain areas, not for just throwing it in the public. I mean certain areas in like security areas, stuff like that.
Right, fair enough.
Yeah,
but, no, fuck's sake,
not for throwing it in the public.
It should, like I say, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be used anyway. It's like I should. Generally speaking, it's like just speak, and like you say, for wrongly identifying people, it's like there's no issue. It's like, what I have to walk around cities on camera all the time because you say that it's my, you're looking after me.
Yeah.
By
if you're doing
cameras,
nothing wrong, why are you hiding?
We all know from experience that when it comes to using these cameras for. As a citizen, say I'll chain my bike up and it's on camera and it gets stolen, I can't get that footage. No one's going to turn around and go, oh, yeah, we'll help you out. We'll help you find the thief who stole your item. Yeah, but when it's used against you, then they're using it all the time. All of a sudden it appears, right? Yeah. It's a piss take that it's not there to help me when I need it. Or if I got beaten up or mugged in the street, where I can get access to this footage, but when it comes to it, if I was being accused of something, then they'd be able to track me right across the city, on different camera networks, right? It's not a case of that. It's a case of that they say that we need these cameras up in cities because it's for our protection.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're giving up our freedom,
Our liberties for that. Yeah.
by allowing it.
Yeah.
Because we're literally being spied on.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah. Well, the best spy tool is you get your phone. They love it, absolutely love it. Everyone's
got more
for
personal data on your phone than you have in your house.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. It's like you're walking around there with all your bank details, the fucking your porn habits. Yeah. Fucking your Amazon wish list.
Yeah.
Fucking all these bits and pieces
your
that you've got on
dreams.
there. Yeah, all in your phone, all your text messages, your contact lists, everything. Yeah,
all your arguments and all.
You know, everything's in there. Yeah,
life.
so it's like, you know, if these phone companies have got access to that, then
they're
all
just
it
trying to
takes
get
is
more
for that
into
to
the
be
face
kind of
now.
passed on to the next guy.
Because if you notice, most of it's gone into face.
Anyway, you're pissing me off this episode. Let's move on to Betty and Barney here. Fucking Hill.
Yeah, let's.
Making me swear.
You swearing?
What?
Hey? We'll do that next.
I'm not even talking about that today.
There's lots on that.
So,
virus. So listen to the extra for that.
So, episode 71, Betty and Barney Hill. So Betty and Barney Hill were an American couple, as we say. They claim to have been abducted by aliens in a rural part of New Hampshire back in 1961, I think it was.
Yeah.
The story goes, it was a long drive. They were kind of on vacation. I think they'd been to Vermont, and they'd been driving back to
from Niagara Falls.
Was that where they'd been?
Yeah.
So they'd been driving back. It'd been a bit of a heat wave as well, so the weather had been quite nice. The skies had been clear for quite a few days, and they were around about 2 hours away from their house. When they started experiencing some weird shit.
Oh, did they?
So, basically, this is a story that changes their lives, really, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
From then on. Betty and Barney were basically married. They lived in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Barney was born in 1922. He was a postal worker. And Betty, born in 1919, she worked as a social worker. They were both very active in the United States civil rights movement, and they were on a board for that. And also were involved in the NAACP, which was kind of like a pro kind of black rights association at the time. So, you know, we remember that, you know, in this time as well, it was the 1960s, and it wasn't fucking very it wasn't a good time for an interracial couple. So you see, you know, obviously Barney was an African American and Betty was Caucasian. So
they already had issues before this.
Of course he did.
Come across.
So it makes me think as well, obviously, with this story, that you think that they wouldn't want to draw extra attention to themselves by kind of coming across as being like kooks.
Yeah.
You know, I've just come out and said, oh, mate, I've just seen
this, that, and the other. And the
well, no, I've just watched it, haven't I? I've just, you know, been abducted by aliens. It's like, are you a bit of a fucking crazy or what?
Fucking fruit leaf,
as well as, you know, being in this sort of inappropriate relationship at the time. Yeah. You know, like this is what other people would see. Yeah. It's like now all of a sudden you're coming out and you crazies too.
Yeah. So you know what I mean? you're just trying to be different, or that you're trying to be something you're not, or you know what I mean? It's one of them.
Well, I'm not sure. Like, if it's just like that, it's like that. You know, that people just think that they've got issues. To be honest, and it's like, would you especially if you're on like stuff like civil rights sort of campaigns and stuff, you want to be made professional and want to be seen as a pillar of the community. Yeah. I think those types of things throwing the mix
a big
as well.
spanner.
It would kind of put shake people's confidence in you.
Yeah,
you'd expect that people would be like, "No, I don't really want them on my board anymore," or they wouldn't want.
Yeah, you've lost your position.
Yeah,
or you've lost friends.
She's a social worker.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? She's supposed to be able to kind of look after people, vulnerable people. It's like if now she's turning around and saying that she's seeing aliens and being abducted, then. Her colleagues could question her ability to do her job properly. Really,
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah,
would, because it's
very
like
true.
it's like, are you saying, because like, you know, you're supposed to be able to judge people who were supposedly more vulnerable than you,
And yet
help
you're
them,
talking this
and help
way.
them, and you're telling me that you've been abducted by
Yeah,
aliens. So they
yeah.
had a lot to lose, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, oh
in
yeah,
terms
very
of like,
much so.
you know, the story of like their abduction.
Yeah.
So, like I say, this was actually the first, you know, the first alien case,
Recorded.
alien abduction
Yeah.
case that was recorded in the United States. But you've got to think, do you think that these things were happening before that, and it was
Yeah.
just obviously thingy? Because
Yeah, well, yeah, because there has been cases beforehand, and but like they didn't really come out because it was so like secretive.
well, the thing was,
Like-
Betty actually said that her sister had told her about alien abductions and the UFO encounters
Yeah.
before she had hers. Because later on, she actually rings up her sister and she goes into it. I mean, we'll go into it in a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah,
But like I say, I think that people were having encounters, but they maybe just didn't remember them, or they'd just be like, because obviously in this story, we go into kind of how Betty and Barney said that they were kind of put into a trance.
yeah,
And they was very sketchy on what they remembered at the beginning.
yeah.
And it was only over time that they started to remember bits, and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, over using
Hypnosis,
hypnosis
yeah.
and dreams that she was having,
Yeah,
that she started to kind of come up with the answers.
yeah,
But if you were kind of a bit, you know, like I don't know, you were drunk, or you were a bit kind of like, I don't know,
Out of it.
schizophrenic, or you were just kind of like, you
not
know,
right.
just you didn't remember it. You just got you're susceptible to their sort of ways of brainwashing you. Yeah, that maybe you wouldn't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
or
yeah,
you
yeah.
just didn't kind of think about it. You didn't care enough. You know, I don't know. But you like you say, any one of us could have been abducted and, you know, took
Yeah,
on a
for all
on a
we know,
ship,
we all
but
have
we don't
been.
know, and for
Yeah.
all you know, we all have been.
Yeah.
You don't know. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, you know, these guys kind of remembered it because I think they both experienced it.
Yeah,
They were
that-
able
yeah.
to go look at each other and go, you know, I know that something happened.
Yeah,
Yeah. But and they both experienced missing time as well. So it was kind
Yeah,
of
2
like
hours, yeah.
they couldn't explain those 2 missing hours. So it was a case of like
and where they come back.
they had someone to bounce that off who they both experienced it.
Yeah,
So-
and they come back 35 miles away from the spot where they actually stopped and saw this UFO.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, like I say, we'll get into it. So, it
Yeah.
all started on September the 19th, 1961. Like I say, they were driving from Montreal back to Portsmouth on Route 3.
Yeah.
Betty sees a light in the sky, and at first she recalls that she thought it might have been a shooting star. But after watching it for a few moments, she noticed that it was the light was changing directions rapidly, and Barney decided to pull over at the side of the road as they both looked up at the sky and just basically stretched their legs a little
Yeah.
bit. So they got out of the car and they were kind of like just looking up at this object. Barney ends up getting his binoculars out.
And a good little peek.
And had a bit of a look. He basically said that it looked like a UFO style kind of saucer sort of dish. He said it also had a big window down one side of it, and he said he saw actual figures in the window
Yeah.
in black uniforms with like a black hat on, right? And he said he saw about 5 or 6 in the window.
Yeah.
But this is all through binoculars, so I'm a kind of a bit like, you know, how much he did actually see and how far away they were from him.
Yeah.
Because he basically said that he was watching them for a bit and he felt like he had this sort of telekinetic, telepathic sort of connection with one of them.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
one of them was
yeah.
saying to him, stay here, just keep watching, do you know, like, and next thing he knew, he said that it started to move, and it basically started to morph a little bit.
Yeah.
So he dove back in the car with Betty.
red beam.
Yeah, and
red beam is
had this
fired down.
red beam fired down.
Yeah.
Right. So, he's kind of like screaming at Betty, saying they're coming to get us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And next thing they knew, they woke up.
Yeah.
35 miles. Well, actually, they said that this beam came down, and when the beam came down, it felt like that the whole kind of car was kind of having this sort of vibration.
Yeah.
And it made them sort of disorientated and sort of put them in a sort of trance.
Yeah.
Then apparently the frequency changed, and that's when they snapped out of it. Yeah. And they were 35 miles further down the road than where they were when they felt like they'd been stopped.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, it was a bit of a kind of a strange one, really, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little.
So, what do you reckon about that, then?
Well, I thought it was a bit weird, because from his own words, he stated that he felt, when he was running back to the car, that he felt like a insect getting caught by a net, which I thought was interesting. That was his feelings at that time. And
he felt like an insect?
Yeah, at that time he felt like a small little insect that was just about to get caught. And Betty as well, just before the light come down, she had a feeling that she was trapped and that they were coming for them.
Yeah.
But she had a good fight. She fought back.
She seemed to have been quite. I don't know. She seemed to be kind of chilled out about it when she recalls it in a dream state. You know, when she's saying, "Oh, I had this dream. I don't know if it was what happened to me, but this is kind of what I'm dreaming about."
Yeah.
And she seems very calm about it. But when she goes under hypnosis, that's when she starts panicking. Yeah,
but she was more of a fighter than he was.
Definitely. I think he was definitely a bit of a
really
pussy
scared
in some ways. Yeah, because we'll go into it when we get into the hypnosis stage. Because he was just like, there was a few things to make me think that Betty handled it a lot better than Barney. Do you know? Yeah. And even in terms of kind of asking questions and trying to find out about a situation, she wanted to know a bit more about what was going on, whereas Barney was a bit kind of like, just wake me up just let me know when it's over. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because there was a point where there is a suspicion that she's the one who started it and made Barney follow along, basically. But there is
well, it was like, I'm not sure that if they were randomly selected off the road because they were showing interest in them. Do you know what I mean? It's like people
like
say
you said about the sister. If the sister's been taken, because it's generally in the likelihood of abduction, it's generally the family, the younger family part of the family gets abducted, then the next generation and the next generation.
So you think there is some sort of genetic connection why she was chosen?
Been,
maybe.
Yeah,
don't know. Well, like you say, they were 35 miles down the road and not really remembering much about what's just happened to him. So they travelled home as they planned.
Yeah,
and they basically didn't have any problems. They actually said that they felt like they remembered being stopped at a roadblock.
Yes,
at one point, but other than that, there was no hiccups. It was just perfectly normal drive home. Until when they got home, they realised that the 2-hour drive that they were supposed to have taken actually took 4 hours.
Yeah,
and they couldn't recall what had happened, where this time had gone. It was just a bit kind of baffling. Both the watches stopped as well.
Yes,
permanently.
Yeah,
it wasn't a case of that they could fix them or wind them back up. They both permanently stopped.
And would not work again. But Barney's shoes were destroyed.
Well, yeah. He said that they were scuffed up and kind of like they'd been like he'd been dragged about or something like that. But when they got home, there was some strange urges that Betty had. She basically wouldn't bring her suitcase in the house. She left it by the door.
Yeah.
And for some reason, she just wouldn't bring it in. And
she had rips on the dresses.
Yeah, she had rips on the dresses. She actually kept the dresses. She said there was actually a pink powder on it.
Yes.
But she put it on the line and the powder blew off.
Well, there was actually, they've still got, they actually took some powder and had it analysed.
Oh, right, fair enough. What did they come back with?
It come up with, basically, there was protein there. There was oils there, which weren't hers. And the pink stuff, they don't know. It's still inconclusive. Yeah, in fact, it's been tested 5 times.
Barney had a number of broken items, such as his binoculars strap was broken. Like you say, his shoes were scuffed. and both, like I say, their watches had stopped.
Yeah.
And Barney felt compelled to check his genitals as well, because he felt like he'd been probed there. Yeah. But on an inspection, he felt like he didn't have any issues. But to be honest, he felt like he felt a compulsion to check
was something going on.
He felt like there was something had happened. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
it's like, have I been probed or whatever? But like, he felt in the reports, he says, I felt like I needed to check myself there. Do you know what I mean?
Hey,
they both basically took loads of baths and showers and stuff like that because they felt that they'd been affected by radiation.
You know what? That's it. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have thought. Radiation would have been started burning the skin and stuff like this.
I think they were more paranoid about it than anything. Yeah. But both of them went to bed that night, wrote down exactly what they saw. Yeah. Drew pictures of it. Yeah. But like I say, they started to become very kind of fearful about the radiation, getting kind of like a bit kind of freaked out about it. Yeah, Betty called up her sister, who, like I say, who had told her about having an alien abduction experience. Yeah. And she basically had a neighbour who was a scientist. Yeah. Oh, those days when your neighbours were scientists. You know what I mean? It's like, just knock on next door and for Dr. Emmett Brown. He's in the phone book as a scientist. You know what I mean? And it's like, knock on. And he gave the advice of basically getting a compass and running it over what they believed was irradiated. Yes. Yeah. And if the compass stopped or did anything irregular, then it's a sign that there could be some radiation there. Yeah. So they did. They got a compass and they went out to the car, and they noticed there was these two kind of little circle marks on the trunk of the car. Oh. Yeah. And every time they rubbed the compass over that area, the compass freaked out. It'd spin around like crazy. So
it was definitely radiation.
Well, it was sort of like had an irregular electromagnetic energy. Yeah, do you know what I mean? So they thought obviously there was something going on here, and the sister then basically said, "Do you know who you should ring?" She said, "You should ring Peace Air Base." Right, which was the local RAF base. Yeah. And they went, they'd have a bit of a better understanding of who was in the air that night, if they had any test pilots out there, if there was any sort of like, if they'd picked anything up on the, the radar. Yeah. If, they might have an idea. Yeah. So on September the 21st, she called them up and reported the incident. She didn't tell them exactly what had happened because, like I say, she didn't really want to come across as being a bit of a crazy. Yeah. So she just kind of inquired about anything strange in the area that night. Yeah, yeah. But her call and the story was actually passed on to a Major Paul W. Henderson, who basically wanted to interview the Hills. Yeah. So we called them up, asked if they would be all right coming in for an interview. Yeah. He did that several days later, and on the 26th of September, he issued a report that stated Betty and Barney had basically been looking up at the planet Jupiter, and had mistaken whatever they saw for the planet Jupiter, which is just stupid. Do you know what I mean? It's like they couldn't have been, because it was like zigzagging around the sky. It was manoeuvring in certain ways. That they couldn't account for. It wasn't a planet that was a stationary planet. Jupiter doesn't fucking move around like that.
Well, yeah, but that couldn't have been the thing anyway, because it was caught twice on two different radars, and it was also half a dozen other people had spotted it.
Well, NICAP, who basically run, these type of investigations. Yeah. They have kind of look into out of celestial, out of body, out of space. Yeah. Objects and stuff. Yeah. But basically, they were the people who wrote the report, and they basically said obviously that it was stupid. They had to change it. The report was changed a couple of days later because it wasn't in line with what they were claiming. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, say they were claiming that there was abductions and there was there was movement and all the rest of it. And for them to turn around and say it was Jupiter, it's just so,
way
dismissible that it can't be just that. You needed something more.
Yeah,
so
well,
it
they
ended up
needed to
getting
learn
changed to impaired vision and optical conditions that had made them see things that they shouldn't have seen or shouldn't see in the desert. So
any excuse.
Then it was sent. Henderson's report was then sent over to the Project Blue Book team. The Air Force left the project, basically saying that it was basically a load of bollocks. Didn't really give it any more entertaining than that. But Betty started having these becoming obsessed with UFOs, and started finding books on them, and kind of tried to contact these people at the NICAP.
Yeah.
To kind of tell her the story.
Yeah.
That's when she kind of ended up chatting with a member called Walter Webb, who found the story pretty fascinating and wanted to find out a bit more about it, especially after Betty kind of said that she wouldn't mind being going under hypnosis to try and find out what actually had happened. So she had started having kind of interviews with Mr. Webb, just to try and establish whether he felt that they were telling the truth or not. So, anything you want to add at this point?
Well, I know the details of the psychiatrist that they went and seen.
We'll get to that bit, because, like I say, once we dived in, because it's like she started having these mad dreams over the 5 nights. When she was kind of like pretty soon afterwards, and these dreams were basically, she was saying she was driving down this road when she came across a roadblock, right?
Yeah.
She said that a group of men approached the car, and she passed out, and the next thing she knew, she was being led through the forest, eventually up to a ramp, and then led onto a craft. She says that she was walking with 2 smaller men who looked human, but a bit strange looking. When she said she looked around, she saw that she was Barney was there, but he said no matter how hard she kind of called to him, he didn't respond. And she said she felt like he was in some sort of trance, even kind of like that they weren't very far apart.
Yeah.
She describes the men as being about strange looking, 5 feet, blue lips, greyish complexion. So they kind of lead her onto the ship, and then they basically split them up and kind of do separate examinations on him. So Betty says that she was being led into one room by one guy who she kind of started referring to as the leader, and then she said there was another sort of humanoid who she described as the examiner, who was doing kind of these tests on her.
Yeah.
And she said that they didn't speak English very well, but they did speak a sort of broken English. She said that they started talking to her and basically started taking samples of hair and fingernails and scraping skin, stuff like that. And even
checking
kind of
vertebra.
What?
They were doing a test as checking the backbone,
the vertebrae.
counting every single one.
Yeah. They did that to Barney as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Apparently they stuck a needle into her abdomen,
Yes.
just to see if she could handle the pain.
Yes, it's
But then she was
pain.
screaming, and then she reckons that the leader came over and sort of waved his hand at her, and the pain stopped. So she kind of almost sort of kind of appreciated it, but she said that they kind of kept doing all these experiments on her, and then she just basically gets up. She kind of like she's kind of being led by the leader, who's trying to explain things to her, and she ends up picking up this book.
Yeah.
And he says to her, you can keep that, some alien literature.
Yeah.
Then he starts showing her like where they're from, showing her star charts and stuff like that on this kind of screen. And then, says that they're from the system Zeta Reticuli.
Yeah.
Right? So she's being led by, like the leader off the ship at this point. And then she said that there was a bit of an argument with the leader and one of the other crew.
Yeah.
Right? And it was regarding the book that she had, and that she wanted to they were arguing because they didn't want her to take it off the ship. So she ended up leaving it behind.
Yeah.
And I wonder what was on that book. Do you know what I mean? But
a lot of evidence.
A lot of evidence, yeah. But she ended up having to leave it behind, right? So she's kind of having these dreams, and this is what her dream was about. So, but then it's like, that's not an abduction in the same sense as that 1 minute... in the first instance of the story, that it's this beam that comes down, this red light.
Yeah.
Next minute, they're on board the ship. Now, when she's having a dream, it's like, we got surrounded by a roadblock. That sounds more government than alien. Yeah. Right? Yeah. We got roadblocked, and then we got kind of drugged, or fucking, what's the word now? We got chloroformed. Yeah, led into a God knows what. We're told it's a spaceship. Yeah, but it could have just been a couple of porta cabins, like stuck next to each other. I just got led up a ramp and experimented on. Next minute, I'm shoved back out into the woods. Yeah. Who knows what the fuck's going on? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
it sounds way more than more government fucking cover up than it does aliens.
Well, I don't know, but whoever was kidnapping, there was a woman called Marjorie Fisher who put her life into them star charts.
That she said
she'd seen. Yeah,
but she did write them down as well, didn't she? After that, yeah.
So she actually discovered where they were from.
Wow.
But the weirdest thing that got me was about how she was told that this is their trading route.
Yeah, because that was what she said. That the stronger lines were trade routes, and the dotted dashes were more kind of undiscovered or untravelled stars, if you like. So, I mean, it was kind of strange because it's like, obviously, that suggests that there's a lot going on up there.
Yeah, I mean, the nearest planet to go there, it's only 37 light years away.
Only 37 light years away. It's only up the road.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? So, yeah. Basically, Webb basically interviewed him again, and he said that, he, as far as he was concerned, the Hills were actually telling the truth.
Yeah.
Although kind of, he suspected Barney had kind of a mental block on a lot of what he, at this point, he didn't really want to open up about it. He kind of didn't deny that these guys had, experienced something. He just didn't know what, but he did think that something did happen to him on that road. So,
because he had to actually stop some of them. He had to stop to bring them out.
How do you mean?
Out of hypnosis. Because
right,
when they were doing the hypnosis,
they were getting so emotional about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you go through that, you're going through exactly all the emotions and all the things that were happening at that time.
Of course,
so you feel all them pains.
Well, this is it. We go into the hypnosis in a minute, and it's pretty horrific considering. So, in November 1961, they had another meeting with NICAP members about hypnosis, and they wanted to kind of they brought it up again, and they thought that for this case it would be a good idea. So they brought it up just to kind of to get an idea of what they could find out.
Yeah.
So it took a while, and after quite a while waiting around and having plenty of interviews and different sort of, board meetings.
Yeah.
They got access or got granted permission to kind of go into the hypnosis sort of side.
Yeah.
And in January the 4th, 1964, Betty and Barney Hill went under and relayed their story under hypnosis.
Yeah.
Barney wasn't very sure about doing it at first, but he just basically thought if it settles it for better, then he's happy to do it.
Yeah. So
he went under. He basically was fucking full of fear the whole way through. He dreaded, the whole thing. And when he was giving details of these sort of humanoids, he did even admitted that he was kind of like the event had made him kind of just want to close his eyes and not want to look at anything. He just wanted to kind of like get through it. And he said that when he did look into this leader's eyes, it was the most terrifying thing he'd ever seen, and it just kind of made him want to not look.
Yeah,
and he said like he was looking right into his soul, and like he had this telepathic sort of link with him. And even though the leader basically told him, just close your eyes.
Yeah,
it'll be better
keep
for
your
you
eyes
not
closed
to see what's going on.
Yeah, and he was screaming, God give me strength. Just God give me strength, because I've have you heard any of the tapes?
Yeah, I've heard them, yeah. But it's like, to be fair, when he went under, his story pretty much matched what Betty had said as her dreams, like in terms of not all in the same order, and the timings were slightly off. But essentially, it was basically what she was saying.
Yeah.
He recalls being stopped by a roadblock. He said that, like he got out the car with his pistol and his binoculars when he was surrounded by men who led them off into the woods. He said that when they got onto the ship, he'd been, felt like he was being examined.
Yeah.
And he said that even though he didn't have like an orgasm, he felt like there was semen being extracted from him.
Yeah.
In these experiments. So, but like you say, he was so kind of freaked out by it.
Yeah, he was
like you say, they had to kind of snap him out of it a few times, to try and like sort his head out, because he was like literally
seriously fucks his head up, man.
He said he was like these kind of like eyes would torture him, and he could almost mesmerize him.
Yeah,
in terms of like the power they had sort of on him. So,
which
crazy,
if you looked into a fucking human eyes, you wouldn't get that kind of...
The windows to the soul.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You wouldn't get that kind of thing.
Well, you don't know. It depends. Some people have got some fucking crazy eyes, man.
Well, if I knocked you out with some gas and then got someone to look at you saying, like, keep your eyes fucking shut. Keep your fucking eyes shut.
There's a bit of a difference when it's a fucking, like, an alien species.
Yeah,
and this guy's
exactly.
absolutely being traumatised by it. And they're experimenting
the feelings as well, the closeness.
And they've got your wife in the next room doing all sorts to her, and you can't help her.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Do you know what I mean? But, well, anyway, so they took semen samples from him. They took a load of different samples like they did with Bear.
Yeah.
Hair samples, skin samples, those types of things. But it's like I say, it kind of... He said that the lips never moved. It was all through telepathic sort of command.
Communication.
Yeah. But when he woke, he didn't really remember it all. He didn't remember anything really until they started putting two and two together.
Yeah.
So he felt like he was under some sort of trance himself. So when it got to Betty, she basically was, even though again she was a bit unsure about a few things, essentially it was exactly what she was saying happened in her dreams.
Yeah.
But a few details came out about how she was told that she would always remember, and that she'd always be told, that it was, she was always going to remember the incident.
Yeah,
Whereas some people won't. And the leader actually said that he wanted her to remember for some reason. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but why just to... I mean, don't get me wrong, it might be the start of, trying to get people to understand that, we ain't alone.
Well, yeah, exactly. And like I say, if it's one of the first incidences of, alien abduction, then it's an interesting one, because that sparks off, how many people claim to have been abducted in the USA now?
And been quiet
in this day and age.
Yeah.
It's like so many. When people are not too bothered about, bringing that out now and saying these things, like I've been abducted. It's like, are you going to be seen as a psycho sort of crazy person nowadays if you say that? Or you just yeah, mate, haven't we all?
You reckon at least half the Americans have seen?
At least half.
At least half.
If you've seen an alien, let us know at neverastraightanswer.co.uk.
Well, it depends. It could be 1, 2, or 3. Like you've just seen something in the sky, or I've seen
stuff in the sky, but I couldn't categorically tell you it was an alien.
No, but
honestly.
but to yourself,
it was an alien.
To yourself, would you say that was something strange, or is that a natural?
There was something
phenomenon?
Strange in my neighbourhood, right?
Yeah, it was a Ghostbuster.
It wasn't a Ghostbuster, right? But the thing is, it's like everything. If you can't explain it, it's a UFO, right? UFO is an unidentified flying object.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's aliens.
Yes, exactly. You know I say this.
I was watching Red Dwarf actually the other day, and it was like, you think everything's aliens, don't you? And it was like, what about that day when we used a whole bog roll in a day? It's like, what? Aliens used our bog roll? Well, I didn't use it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it must have been aliens.
I've got another TV program you should watch, actually. If I don't know if it aired in the States, but if it's not, try and find it because it was pretty good. It's called You, Me and the Apocalypse. It's a pretty interesting story. It basically was aired on Sky One here in the UK a while ago. I've just rewatched it. It's really cool. It's kind of like a lot of different stories all kind of connecting to one, and it's really good character development. It's got good storyline. Check it out. It's called You, Me and the Apocalypse. Dead interesting. It's a story. It's a kind of sci-fi. So go check it out. It's cool. Other than that, I think that's it. I think with the Betty and Barney Hill thing, I think there's so much more to it that you can go into a lot of kind of the criticisms that people have about the story. Holes that people have poked in it. But then obviously there's other evidence to say that it's legit.
Something did happen.
And something did happen.
What?
Like I say though, I think it could be a number of things. It could be a government operation that was kind of kidnapping people and doing tests, or exactly what it says on the tin. Yeah, it was an alien abduction.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
On the trading route.
Maybe they were trading humans.
That was one of the words.
Or semen.
That when I seen that was
gotta go and get the goods.
When I heard it come out of him, it was like, what the fuck? The trading route. So then, to me, that made it it's more dangerous than it was then if we were just being visited. Because we're on a route.
Oh, we're on a trade route.
We're on their trade route.
So basically,
so how many? How
many? So this is why we have high numbers of UFO sightings, because people are passing on a trade route.
Yeah.
Fair news.
You know what I mean?
Potentially.
But then again,
it just sounds like an episode of Star Wars. It's like fucking trade federations and kind of doing what
the fuck are they doing in our space without our fucking permission?
Politics.
Get their fault back.
It's like that's what kids want.
Brits are back now, so we're kicking ass.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, fucking. I see you had to swing it back round to being
fucking gorgeous day, mate. Gorgeous day. I can't wait till next.
Anyway, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So if you want to get in touch, if you've got a question, you can get in touch at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com. We're always happy to answer your questions, or we'll try anyway.
Yeah.
You can get onto us at the website at neverastraightanswer.co.uk.
You can.
We've got some shout outs before we head out.
Yeah.
I've got a question as well, actually.
All right, sweet.
Got a nice question. Let me just find it. We're running out of time.
We are.
Oh, mate. It's always me. What's going on? Try and find
it is, isn't it? It's always you.
Trying to find the bloody... You see, this is I do so much preparation for this show.
Yeah.
So question is, we got a question from. Oh, this is last week's questions. What we're doing.
Are you doing your nutball?
What?
Are you doing your nutball?
Trying to find the relevant material, fella. 1 second.
Okay, I'm waiting.
I'm here now.
How far the viewers are waiting, but. Don't worry, he'll be there soon. Don't worry.
It's a shout out.
Crack on with what you're doing.
Got a shout out. Got a question from Jessie G.
Oh, hey, Jess.
Thanks for the shout out on your episodes as well on Not So Minnesota Nice.
Yeah.
Said what sort of local things are there around us that everybody who comes to the area should experience and see.
There's local dogging sites. No, see
what I mean? Lowers the tone. What is there in Manchester that you would recommend people come to see if they were coming here?
The museums are good.
The museums are good. Yeah,
there's some.
The Museum of Science and Industry is cool.
Yeah.
What else would I say? Shopping, the whole city's cool. Actually, Manchester's a good city.
Even wandering around the back streets, You know what I mean? There's always something there, yeah, especially in town. You know, like that part. I think
The
it's
northern quarter.
Yeah, the indoor markets and stuff like
I'd say,
that.
the northern quarter is cool in Manchester. It's kind of like if you want something a bit unique, you can go down there.
Yeah.
It was back in the day anyway. I see too many kind of like corporate type shops there now. Like jumped in on the sort of bohemian sort of that sort of kind of culture of trying to be unique and having something a bit different. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know.
We've got
I don't know what else is there.
Loads
of stuff going on in Manchester.
Yeah.
So
the only way to find out
is come down and see it yourself.
Get down there and enjoy yourself.
That's it.
Have a good time.
Got some shout outs. Big shout out to Gareth with the Bigfoot story today. EJ, we've got a new EJ blog coming up tomorrow. It's an interesting one. So I'll be posting that tomorrow at some point.
So look out.
Well, it'll be on Sunday, so it'll be up before this episode's posted.
So it should be out now?
So it'll be out now.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Liz Reader.
Yes, Liz.
Big shout out to Jenny at Not So Minnesota Nice.
Yeah,
Mr. Shirley Crabtree.
Yeah,
big shout out
Shirley.
to Swoosh and Jay.
Swoosh Jay.
Grief Burrito for being our featured podcast. Also, Tennis Podcast, Deep in History Podcast.
Yeah.
Betty and Barney Rubble.
Yeah.
Of the Flintstones. Unexceptional Podcast and Susie Q.
Yeah.
Big shout out to you. And Chris.
Big shout.
And that's it for shout outs. If you want to subscribe to us, we're available on all podcast platforms. You know where to go.
Yeah.
Wherever you go.
We're everywhere.
Well, you'll find us. Just go.
Yeah, we're just sneaking
subscribe.
around the corner.
Thank you
in
to
your app.
all new listeners, anyone who's listened, anybody who continues to listen. We love you so much.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Keep joining us because there's going to be great things coming in.
I've been a bit shouty today. I'm sorry, Taylor.
No,
I'm not forget. I've like getting
I've been a bit more quiet.
Politics
too
man,
much
it winds
with
me up. I don't care for it too much sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. A lot of people don't, but it's a great day. It's great day.
I know you're happy, aren't you, today? So I'll let you have that. Right, well, that's it. That's all we've got time for. If you want to get on Patreon and give us an hand, get over there. Buy some merch over at the website. Everything's happening at the website, neverastraightanswer.co.uk. I've been your host, Gaz.
And I'm Taylor.
And also we've been joined in the studio with Mikey. We'll catch you next week for another episode of Never a Straight Answer. And we'll see you soon.
We will.
Peace.
Out. Maybe a bit of butter. Or lettuce or two.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.